Someone drugged the food in her home and returned later to rape her.
I know something happened to me because a woman knows.
She filed a report and was briefly hospitalized with signs of sexual assault. Dr. Hall says what Verbeff describes is known as gang stalking. Police reports indicate there was a rape reported in 2007 in the same quad of condos where one of Dr. Hall's girlfriends supposedly lived. San Antonio police say the condo rape remains under investigation. And Bexar County detectives say Verbeff's assault remains open as well.
Rapists. The cops are rapist collaborators, helping the military with psychops. And then there's a bunch of intelligence agency scum that should be shot.
Santa Cruz Police Lieutenant Larry Richards said police are becoming more aware of gang stalking because of cyberbullying. But what is gang stalking? Basically, the victims could be driving their car or talking on their phones or walking the streets when a group of people try to systematically terrorize them.
Someone drugged the food in her home and returned later to rape her.
But recently the house was purchased by some unusual owners.
It is intimidating.
Intimidating, says Stockton Mayor Ann Johnson, because the city manager lives right next door, and because the house was bought by the Stockton Police Officers Association. The same day, contract talks broke down.
Out of all the homes under foreclosure in the city of Stockton, they picked the one right next to the city manager, and they offered full price for it.
Since then, Johnson says, city manager Bob Dice has endured construction noise on the 4th of July and watched as the trees lining his backyard were cut down. If this is a real estate investment by the union, county records show it's the only one. A complaint filed by the city claims a pattern of abuse against Dice. In the most recent incident, the city manager claims somebody put a bumper sticker on his car, showing a little boy peeing on a pair of dice.
Citizens of Morgan Hill and San Jose. The reason why I started off playing those two clips is because it's quite simple. I am being gang stalked in Morgan Hill, which is in between Stockton and Santa Cruz, where gang stalking has been recorded by the police, the city manager, and the mayors on record. So there's no playing this off. I know many of you are not racist, but the people who have organized this are. They can't stand the thought of a black man who is uncontrolled opposition rising as the top martial artist. I know you people are not that stupid to believe that I have this $3,000 challenge for 3 years, and I've defended it for 3 years. I have over 100 victories and no losses, and that magically that means nothing or something, or that I'm not the top martial artist. I'm sure you understand the relevance of $3,000 in a capitalist system where most people are in debt. And no great martial artists are rich, only actors. They do not want it to come out that I'm the top martial artist, so they are covertly drugging me. And I have them on record admitting to being told to provoke me to go to the psych ward. I have more than one of them on record. So I want you to ask yourselves, do you want to go down in history as helping the terrorists in the government create a facade and oppress black people? I've had the local law enforcement tell me flat out to take psychiatric medications. I am a guy with a degree in software engineering. I am quite capable of making my own decisions. Psychiatry historically has been used for political abuse, specifically on uncontrolled opposition citizens, such as myself. It also impairs my ability to do martial arts. While 1 in 3 to 1 in 4 professional athletes, quote unquote, take performance enhancing drugs, I have been the top martial artist for 5 years plus while they're giving me performance impairing drugs, covertly and otherwise. Many of you are stupid enough to wonder what this has to do with you. Well, rest assured, government oppression affects us all. These people are rapists, and they are being allowed to rape with impunity because law enforcement is in cahoots with these unscrupulous villains. Obviously, being the top martial artist includes a certain responsibility. I must set the standard for honor, virtue, and morality. And I'm telling you now, beyond any doubt, one day this will all come out, even more than it already has. And people will wonder, why did their family who lived in Morgan Hill and San Jose at the time not help me out? Were they cowards? Were they complicit? Or were they just so feeble-minded and unscrupulous that they couldn't find it in their heart to do the right thing? I would say it's a mix of all three, depending on the person. Do you know how easy it would be if I was a man of violence and not a man of thought and tact to pull you out of the drive-thru and slit your throat with a razor? And I would be right to do so, as you are covertly drugging me. People get their ass whooped all over the world for spitting in food all the time. Now imagine what the average warrior would do to a fucking coward who is drugging his food on behalf of rapists. The fact that I have not shows you that I have more than enough self-restraint to be left alone by these pharmaceutical villains, their cohorts, and their collaborators in psychiatry and law enforcement, and every other lowly political group that has taken the time out of their despicable and pitiful lives to harass and stalk me for being uncontrolled opposition. There are many lessons to be learned here. Number one, the Democratic Party is a control party of jackass bitches, and the Republican Party is a fat fucking pig fucking party of rich, greedy, indifferent scoundrels. These people have been in office and in Congress and in the Supreme Court since Lord knows when, going back over 100 years. And before they were known as such, the people who thought the way that they did were also in parties. Going back to the Democratic Republicans, going back to Thomas Jefferson. And these people have established themselves thoroughly for over 100 years. And look at all the corruption and racism and clandestine activities that have taken place since then. Watergate, Iran-Contra, COINTELPRO, MK-Ultra, the Phoenix program, and on and on and on. Your political parties not only have sold you out, but every moment of every day they are screaming that they are complicit with rape, exploitation, extortion, racketeering, and worse. You're just not listening. So I tell you the truth. Anyone right now who is a registered Democrat is complicit with covert drugging and rape, not to mention mass murder and cultural imperialism, nepotism, and worse. Everyone who is a registered Republican is a traitor to humanity and God, a fake Christian, or at least siding with the fake Christian party, and is complicit with rape. The political abuse of law enforcement and psychiatry also includes rape. If you don't understand that, start this video over. Watch the first 2 clips again. Not only was that woman on the news raped, and the law enforcement didn't do anything about it, but someone else in her same complex was raped. This was consistent, frequent. And those aren't the only two people in the world who have been raped by group stalkers. Now, many of you who are complicit might say, well, I'm not raping anybody, but you are drugging me. And some of these drugs cause drowsiness, and you don't know what you're drugging me with. So what do you call somebody who drugs a political dissident and on record is siding with rapists? There's rapists that are helping them stalk this person. What do you call somebody who drugs a political dissident and doesn't know what they're drugging him with? Or they take the word of a bunch of rapists about what they're drugging him with. You call them a lowly fucking coward? And a collaborator that collaborates with rapists. Not just a snitch, not just a coward, but a collaborator that is collaborating with rapists and drugging political dissidents so that rapists can produce a favorable state of mind in the eyes of rapists in that person. And you know what's sick about this? There's secular humanists in the group. The main people doing this are secular humanists, quote unquote. The main people doing this are liberals because we live in that part of the world. 45 minutes from San Francisco, countless gays are helping them out. Countless atheists are helping them out. Countless fake Christians who are really Freemasons and Eastern Star whores are helping them out. Some of you have had families that have lived in Morgan Hill and San Jose for generations. Is this the legacy you wish to leave behind? That you turned a blind eye and or were helping rapists drug a political dissident? That is despicable. Some of you are Hispanics, and the lady in the fucking first clip was Hispanic. You know beyond any doubt that these rapists have raped Hispanic women in the past here and in Texas. But yet, you are complicit. MKUltra was centered 45 minutes away in gay San Francisco, where the Grand Lodge of California is in San Francisco, where the center of the Temple of Set satanic movement is in San Francisco, where the center of the LGBT movement is and the feminist movement, San Francisco. What don't you get? These groups, no matter how you slice it, are the predominant group involved in gang stalking. These satanic liberals. These homosexual and lesbian liberals with that sick look in their eye, trying to have sex with people who are trying to mimic the opposite sex while they're having same sex, pretending they are mentally healthy. These gender disorder having scum, gender identity disorder having filth. These gender dysphoria suffering from scoundrels who refuse to admit that they are sick, even though homosexuality was a mental disorder and it was only removed in 1974. It was never definitively proven not to be a mental illness. The only reason they removed it is because of the pressure they received when they met in San Francisco. Those sellout shrinks, those consultants for Big Pharma who have sold us out historically to the most profitable industry, the pharmaceutical industry. That little sick look in their eye. They drug other people. And they're disproportionately staff members at psych wards and outpatient facilities across the map. These are the sickos that you're helping. These are the godless heathens that you're helping. Not to act is as much of an act as to act. And as long as you uphold the mainstream social norms of the Republicans and the Democrats, you are complicit in their rape. Only if you are an uncontrolled political dissident are you free from the guilt and the shame. Only if you are an uncontrolled political dissenter do you not have blood on your hands and semen on your soul. The semen of rapists. Now, these are the same cowards who would take what I just said and pretend that I'm crazy while they pretend they're not crazy, even though they need to dress up their sex partner as the opposite sex before they have sex with them, showing that their mind is fucked up. Even though they are disproportionately pedophiles, they want to say that thinking the way I do is harmful. But over 100,000 rapes in the military, homosexual rapes alone in the military is okay, even though they're only 2% of the population or less. There's over 100,000 rapes in the military, homosexual rapes every single year. That's like 300 rapes in the military, gay rapes every single day. And it's not just the Army or the Marines, it's all of them. Army, Marines, Navy, they all have a problem with it. With their hazing rituals, their sodomy, their sexual assaults. A bunch of gays in the military running psyops on people. Look up Michael Aquino Mind War. You people are complicit with anti-Christian filth, harassing political dissidents, and you have allowed these same cowards, these same Buddhist psychologists, these same atheist shrinks to define what is socially normative in a predominantly Christian society. But you did not stop there with your cowardice and your complicity and your conformity. Instead, you are complicit with rape and covert drugging every moment of every day as you sit there playing stupid about it. As your children and your friends and your family work in fast food restaurants at Safeway and Nob Hill and are covertly drugging the food that they know I like to get because it's in their computers, their surveillance state and control grid. Think about it. So right now I'm going to sign this petition on change.org, pledge to clean up politics in Washington. It says Washington got a D+ in a recent state integrity investigation report grading us on our transparency, accountability, and systems to deter corruption. We deserve better. A D+. And these are people, many of whom went to Ivy League schools. You know, they're supposed to be the experts and so on. I mean, for society to rely on the quote-unquote experts in psychiatry, which is a pseudoscience, where they admit they do not know what causes mental disorders and that they do not have any valid diagnostic or scientific tests to detect them. Basically, they don't even know if they exist in the first place. It's all theory and speculation. Philosophy is the root cause of all this. I mean, the root of psychology, which is the root of psychiatry. Psychology used to be a part of philosophy. And in psychology, there are many different perspectives. There is no Christian perspective. There's a feminist perspective, a functional perspective. There is a humanist perspective. There's a sociological perspective, and on and on. And these are all theories. Psychiatry is based on psychology. They even describe psychiatric disorders as psychological disorders. And it's all theories. And all of them are anti-Christian. So basically, it is favorable to the government's agenda of control. They drug you based on what is socially normative, what you think, what you believe, and what you feel. Since when is what we think, what we believe, and what we feel any business of theirs? Much less a bunch of people who aren't even the same religion as most Americans, determining what is socially normative. And you wonder why atheism is on the rise and Christianity is on the decline. They can make that argument all they want. But we live in this time, and in this time, you sickos, is the age of Christianity. Therefore, you need to be drugging people based on what is socially normative according to the Bible. Not according to your godless, despicable, detestable, disgusting, repulsive philosophies, you heathens.